All right, welcome back to Hannity. I have often said journalism in America is dead, and it's been buried since 2007. These past 24 hours of press coverage, well, once again, proves my point. Let's start with the media's coverage of the House Intel Committee. They released a report that says Donald Trump, no Russian collusion. Let's watch the coverage.
This has been a highly partisan investigation from the start.
Russia tried to interfere in the election on behalf of Donald Trump. And yet they claim in this report made for talk radio that wasn't the case. Why did they lie when everybody knows they're lying?
Surprised? No. Outraged? Yes. For the reason that this should be something from the get-go that's bigger than partisanship. But in the House committee, it's never been.
If this report were written on toilet paper, I wouldn't stoop to wipe my ass with it. These people owe us more.
And earlier today, the media was quick to slam Trump's new pick to head the CIA. Take a look.
There is controversy in her past. She was involved with the torture programs after September 11th and then involved with destroying videotapes of the matter also. That might be something that could be problematic.
No question. She was involved in one of the most difficult, controversial eras in the CIA.
He said this repeatedly on the campaign trail,
right,
that waterboarding didn't go far enough, that he would do that. And worse, Gina Haspel has a real history with enhanced interrogation in the CIA.
He's doing torture. Who's that benefit? It's not benefiting the voters in Erie. And by the way, it's not going to help him get elected anywhere in Pennsylvania.
Here with reaction from the Hill, media critic, analyst, Joe Concha. What's up, sir?
Hey, Sean. What's happening?
What's your, it's so predictable. That's a big deal after 14 months that the House Intel Committee and Adam Schiff himself, who got destroyed by Meghan McCain, can't give us one bit of evidence of Trump-Russia collusion.
58 seconds was given to that story last night on the 3 evening networks, and NBC actually just ignored it altogether. And that's amazing when you consider the MRC study that came out last week that showed 204 minutes in January and February alone was given to Mueller and Russia, and only 12 minutes to the economy and jobs. And even a majority of that coverage was negative, which is a tough thing to do. Because so remember, 17 times less coverage towards the economy and jobs than Mueller and Russia. And then last night, when one report from 4 of the investigations comes out, one network ignores it and 2 other networks only give it maybe less than 30 seconds. You can't remotely do any analysis into that report as a result. So yeah, that was disappointing to see.
So I'm looking at this Pennsylvania race that's been going on. With all due respect to the Republican, a weak candidate came in third. It's a district that's going to change. Right now, it is about 2,500 vote difference with 520 of 593 precincts reporting. Very close race. No matter if the guy won, if he didn't win by 20 points, it was going to be a Trump loss. If he wins, it's going to be a Trump loss. If the other guy wins, it's going to, and it's if the other candidates mean nothing in this particular race. Then we had the big blue wave that was going to happen in Texas. They ignored that because it didn't come back the way they wanted. Are we wrong to interpret, or the media interpret these elections and not factor in who the candidates are, what's going on in those particular districts?
I think the precedent, Sean, we saw down in Alabama with Roy Moore, who was obviously a horrible candidate. He only won a statewide race by 4 points 4 years before that. And obviously there were all those allegations against him that really, really stuck. But that became a referendum on President Trump. And now maybe we're seeing it in Pennsylvania. We don't know how that race is going to turn out. I know my New York Times needle isn't up right now because certain votes aren't coming in from one county, and we all depend on that. But yeah, it seems to be picking and choosing what matters and what doesn't. To this point, at least as far as congressional races, President Trump's done pretty well in special elections. Obviously, the Senate race in Alabama didn't go well. So, yeah, the narrative will shift determined by the results of a certain race. Did you want to talk about Gina Haspel as well? Because I had some thoughts on that.
Real quick. You have 20 seconds.
Yeah, sure. Oh, sure. Well, look, this is the first female ever to be nominated for the CIA. And if this was another president, we'd be talking about how the president was championing women, how he's putting them in a position of power like he did with Kellyanne Conway as the first campaign manager, or Sarah Sanders as one of the few female press secretaries. We're not seeing that sort of coverage now anymore. Instead, we're focusing on torture. But I agree with Ed Henry, who said before, if we're going to focus on terrorism, this is it.
Thanks, Joe. Bye. We're going to look at that race in Pennsylvania. It's very close. Look at that, 49-49. We'll have an update next.